Hey, welcome back. Okay, so now that you got a quick overview of this training product, you set up the project directory, let me go ahead and just quickly introduce you to the Hypershade. Okay? Okay, so what are materials, what are shaders, and what is this so-called Hypershade? Well, when you create a brand new scene in Maya, by default, a shader is created for you. But before we do that, let's go ahead and create a sphere just so we can understand what's going on. I'm going to use the hotbox to go to the Create menu, Polygon Primitives. I'm just going to go ahead and create a sphere. Then I'm going to hit 5 on the keyboard to go to shaded mode. So here's my sphere. You'll notice that the sphere looks gray. This is actually the shader, the material on the object. Kind of like in real life how things work. If you look at wood, wood looks like wood because it's a wood type material. Concrete will look like concrete because it's a concrete type material. I think you get the idea. In Maya and in 3D in general, different objects have different materials, just like they would in real life. These materials attempt to mimic materials from the real world, or they could be completely made up materials out of your own imagination. Really, it's just up to the artist to go ahead and create the type of material that they'd like to portray in their scene or the production. Okay? In this case, the default material is this very bland gray shader. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up the Hypershade. So I'll hold down the space key to open up the hotbox. I'll go to the window menu. I'll go to rendering editors menu. And then here you'll see Hypershade. So I'll open up the Hypershade. And what you get is this sort of window here with lots of different icons, lots of different buttons. And the first time you use this, or if you're not very familiar with this aspect of Maya, it can be pretty overwhelming because you have so many things. You have all these different tabs over here. You have all these different little icons that make no sense when you first look at them. Then you have this other menu over here on the left with all these different things and menu items and nodes and things. Then you have a main menu here. And then you have this area over here in the middle, which looks pretty confusing at first. Okay, so in this training product, I'm going to go ahead and unconfuse you if you are confused. If not, you're in good shape. And you're going to learn how to use this thing inside and out to go ahead and master your scenes and create your own custom materials and make things look real nice in Maya. Okay? But like with anything in life, first you have to understand the ins and outs and the basic fundamentals of this in order to be able to start mastering it and using it like a pro. Okay? So by default, there's these 3 nodes here under the Materials tab right here of the Hypershade. And you'll see this Lambert 1, you'll see this Particle Cloud 1, and then you'll see this Shader Glow 1 node. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to hover my mouse over the Lambert 1 shader, and I'm going to go ahead and hold down the right mouse button. That'll open up this menu here. And I'm going to go ahead and just hover my mouse over Graph Network, and then I'll let go of the mouse. And it goes ahead and it opens up the work area underneath here. Okay? Underneath the work area, as I hover my mouse on top of it, I can hit A on the keyboard to frame in on anything that's inside the work area, which happens to be this Lambert shader. Okay? I'll select the Lambert shader, and then I'll come up here, and you'll notice that there's this icon here with these 2 little arrows that are pointing to the right. Okay, so you have this icon on the left that says Input Connections, then you have Input and Output Connections, and then on the right you have Output Connections. I want to click on the one in the middle. When I do that, you'll notice that now these 2 nodes appeared. What happens is that the work area allows you to display different types of sort of different views for looking at your shader networks. And right now it's not going to make too much sense, but when we get into the production scenes that come with this tutorial, you're going to start to work with it, and then it's going to start to make a lot of sense. So right now, don't worry about it. I'm not expecting you to pick this up and master it right now, this very moment, just by showing you this, but it'll make a lot of sense as we continue moving along here. Okay? So you notice that we have these nodes here, and these nodes have this strange icon of this yellow circle. We have sort of this red cube and a green sphere. And then we have this node here that says Lambert 1, which shows us a sphere with a gray material, which looks very much like the sphere that we created in this scene. Okay? So this object down here, the one I'm dragging here, it says Initial Shading Group. This is called a shading engine. The actual gray node over here, the Lambert 1, is an actual shader, or it can also be referred to as a material. I like to refer to material as being the entire thing. Okay, so the way you can kind of think of it is like this. Say you have a wall of concrete in your 3D scene, right? The material is going to be the whole concrete material, the thing that makes the whole thing look concrete. If you want to break it down, you could say that the Lambert shader here describes how the surface of that material looks like. Okay? In the case of concrete, it might be a grayish color, might have little holes and scratches, little pock marks and things like that. It might look rough, and it might be a bit dirty. Okay? So the shader that's going to go ahead and it's going to plug into the shading group over here is going to describe and show the way that that surface looks like. And it's going to render out looking like concrete. That little explanation probably makes no sense right now, but it will make a lot of sense later. Okay. So, what is the point here of this little conversation that we're having? The point is that the Hypershade is your sort of one-stop workshop for creating, maintaining, and working with different materials for your scene. Anything that has to do with materials that are going to go on your 3D objects, whether you're creating skin for a human character, or you're creating scales for some reptilian alien character, or you're creating concrete for the floor of your game level, whatever it is you're creating, all those materials and things have to go through the Hypershade. That's the whole point of the Hypershade. The Hypershade is to materials what a gas station is to the fuel of a car. Okay? So just to give you a better idea. And up here we have these different tabs where different things go, and I'll show you that in the next video. In this video, I just want to go ahead and introduce you to the Hypershade very quickly. Don't get too overwhelmed by this stuff. In the next video, we're going to be talking about the Hypershade and its different menus and buttons and icons in a little more depth. Okay? So, that's what the Hypershade is. It's for working with your materials. These nodes and these objects that you see here are the nodes that make up materials and that modify the way that things look and render out inside of Maya. Alright, so I'm going to end this video here. And I think we talked more than enough to introduce you to the Hypershade there. And in the next video, we're going to go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into the Hypershade and start showing you what some of those menu items and tools and features do in the Hypershade to help you get going here with Maya.